Hi, welcome to the Thaiger. Now, I'm in an ASQ hotel here in Bangkok. It's the Park Plaza and it's in Sukhumvit Soi 18. This is where a guest will be staying for 2 weeks as they go through their government-mandated quarantine. Now, it's a beautiful room. It's a lovely room. But how would you go staying in here for 2 weeks? Well, we're going to have a talk to Miguel Jaun, the general manager here, to find out some of the details about staying in an ASQ hotel. So, Miguel, why did you decide to become an ASQ hotel?
Okay. We decided to become an ASQ hotel because we closed the property for nearly 5 to 6 months. We closed it since end of March. And we saw that this is going to be the current future in Thailand right now, that you're going to operate as an ASQ property. Because for normal operation, you only can get domestic business, which is very little, limited business you can get. And ASQ is something which is supported by the government, and I think it will grow more in the future. And being closed, we still have a lot of costs. We still pay, of course, the salary for our staff at reduced level, but nonetheless, we still pay for our staff. And we ran the numbers, and we thought if we can reach a decent amount of occupancy at ASQ, number one, we can pay the salary for our staff, which is one of the most important things, and potentially even rehire some of the people we unfortunately had to let go. And at a certain point, we can make a profit as well. But the profit margin is very, very limited. We need to reach quite a high occupancy level to actually make profit. But we can reduce our losses compared to be staying closed and provide employment and salary for our staff. That was the main reason behind why we did it.
Miguel, the process is that they would arrive at Suvarnabhumi Airport. Mm-hmm. They'd come here under security in a specially prepared van.
Correct.
What happens when they arrive?
When they arrive, they have the whole check-in process with us. We have nurses which are stationed 24/7 inside the hotel. So the nurses start the initial process with the guest. They have a temperature check, initial health check. The guests need to change their shoes. They have slippers we provide them, which they're going to use their entire stay. And then they do the whole registration at the front desk with the staff. We send the guests a lot of information in advance. So we try to keep the check-in process to below 2 minutes to make it very, very fast. They go up to their room, and for the first 3 days, they will stay in the room at all time. They cannot go out. They have on day 3, they're going to have the first COVID test. Provided that it's negative, they can go from day 4 onwards. They can go to our rooftop relaxing area here for 45 minutes per day, 1 time per day.
So who does the tests?
The hospital. That's done. Our partner hospital is Piavet Hospital, based in Rama 9. And they do all the testing and everything. So we have 2 ways of communicating with the guest. The guest communicates with the hospital staff about anything health related, because as a hotel we're not getting involved in that because that's personal. And then we have a line chat with the guest as well and telephone calls. So we update them daily about their menu. They share any needs they have with us over line, and we organize everything for them because we cannot go inside the room whilst they're inside the room. When we're cleaning the room, the guests either have to come to the relaxing area or to a separate room where they wait whilst we're servicing the room. So we have no direct contact with the guest.
So what sort of hoops did you have to go through with the government to get registered for this? I mean, how long did it take you, and were there inspections? What were the costs?
There were plenty of hoops. It took us around 3 weeks to prepare everything. It was a lot of paperwork, all in Thai, so I had great support from my team. My financial controller actually has been the main person doing all the paperwork, but there have been a lot of documents we had to provide in terms, sanitary systems, air conditioning system, building licenses. I also had to rewrite all my SOPs, how do we do check-in, how we do SOPs, standard operating procedures. How do we do check-in, how we do room service, how we take care of our garbage, revise entire system, how we're doing it. Costs were for us reasonably high. We had to cover our carpets because you have carpets in the room. You're not allowed to have carpets. So it's an ASQ policy. So our carpets are covered with a vinyl material, and we had to install this. So it was cost and time incentive to install everything properly in the hotel.
Okay, so one of the things you have to comply with is you can't have normal guests here. So you're an ASQ hotel or you're not.
Correct. And there is always, in Thailand there's always some exceptions to the rule. Some hotels which have two buildings, or some hotels, where you have a different access point or something like this, where you really can separate the path for the guest. You could do both. But generally speaking, my hotel at Park Plaza, we only have one building, and there we focus fully on ASQ guests, dedicated fully, because it's safety and security is very, very important. We have a lot of restrictions in this regard, and that's much safer if you only concentrate on one type of business.
So you're in Sukhumvit Soi 18,
Correct.
right in the middle of Bangkok, in the heart of sort of the business district. What was the Park Plaza before you became an ASQ hotel? What sort of hotel were you? What sort of guests came here?
We were a very, very busy hotel. We had every year over 90% occupancy. We were very successful. And mostly our guests are European guests. We had a decent amount of European, American, Asian as well, and a major part of our business came from online. So this was, especially when we changed now to ASQ, this was a very, very strong change we had to do for the entire team, because most part, over 90% of the ASQ business, you get from direct business. So you get guests contacting you via email, via Facebook, via telephone calls. So that's the only way you get the business. So we have to be on the ball a lot, talking with all the guests, sharing all the information, make them really clearly understand what ASQ means, and that's how we get the business. So it's very different.
Can you give us a ballpark of the sort of costs that are involved for a guest? How much is it going to cost them over the 14 days?
Okay, so our prices start at 48,000 Thai baht net, which includes 3 meals per day, which includes the hospital cost, which is one of our most major costs. Which includes 24 coverage by the nurse, 2 COVID tests, high-speed internet, all the other services required, and that's our standard price, 48,000 Thai baht net.
Okay, so this is going to continue for probably months, maybe well into next year for all we know.
I think so, yeah.
Very difficult to talk with these masks on, by the way, but we have to do it, of course, because this is an ASQ hotel. So how do you sort of speak to the hotel's investors, to the business people, to try and give them an indication that this is a good decision for you to make?
In this regard, I think I'm very lucky, because the owner of my hotel, we talk at the moment nearly daily together, and he's very much engaged and involved with the whole ASQ process. This is really something we decided together to do. We decided together that this is the best option. So we're really in the same team. We want to make it together that it's a success. He's heavily involved. He's even helping us occasionally to get business coming in. So in this regard, we're very lucky. No problem.
How many guests do you have here at the moment under the ASQ?
At the moment, because we started just 2 weeks ago, and it's a long process to get the guests. So right now we have 3 guests in the hotel. We have several guests arriving over the next few days. Normally, ASQ hotels in Bangkok reach around 50% occupancy.
Okay.
So we're targeting around the same, but hopefully, of course, more than that. But around 50% occupancy is the minimum target we're aiming for.
Okay. What's the process of the cleaning of the room? Is the cleaning done before the guests come? And what is it re-cleaned while they're here? How does that all work?
Well, we do deep clean the rooms whenever an ASQ guest is leaving, and the room has to stay empty for 48 hours. Okay. It's a deep clean. We have special chemicals provided for this one. Then, whilst the guest is staying with us, for the first 3 days, we do not enter the room. Once they have the first COVID test on day number 3, on day number 4, they can go outside. We clean the room the first time. Okay. And then we clean the room every 2 days. We offer to clean the room for the guest.
What's the food like? What am I going to eat whilst I'm on ASQ?
I'm happy to show it to you afterwards. The food cannot be served on plates. It needs to be served in plastic container, because we're not allowed to wash it. Everything needs to be discarded in the red garbage bags, which is like a hazardous material. So everything needs to be discarded in a very safe way. So we provide food in plastic containers, which I will show you afterwards. We put a very good system in place to really keep it as hot as possible, as long as possible, because plastic loses heat very, very fast. So we put them inside heat boxes and move them up to the floors and service to the guests. And the food We have a menu for the guest, an ever-changing menu for the guest, where they have always 2 choices of appetizer, 3 choices for lunch, 2 choices for dessert, and the lunch menu, the 3 choices you have are normally 2 Thai dishes, which have then 2 or 3 sub-choices as well. So for example, if you order a pad Thai, you can have it with chicken or pork or shrimps. So it gives the guests have quite a good selection of choice. Normally we received so far very positive feedback.
Here's our
He came back.
our little praying mantis friend.
Yeah.
Where is he? Here he is.
Yeah.
He's been joining it, this tiny little praying mantis. I don't know how. Do you want to get a close up of that knob? It's been joining us for the entire interview.
Yes.
What a beautiful little creature. And he seems to like you, Miguel.
Yeah, he seems to like me a lot. I don't know what is that telling me about me. Telling me.
So
Okay.
let's just finish as your friend is getting closer and closer to you. How can people get in contact with you if they want to inquire about ASQ?
We have 3 options several options for this actually. We're very active on our Facebook. We have an official Line account as well, which is only for ASQ reservations. We have an email address, which is reservations@parkplazabangkok.com. And then, of course, we're available via telephone as well.
All right, well, on behalf of Miguel, myself, and our praying mantis friend, thank you very much for joining us today on the Thaiger, and good luck with the project. And thanks for explaining a bit more about ASQ.
You're very welcome, Tim. Thank you very much.